Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I am your host, aspiring author Jonathan Taylor. Today's video has been inspired by a beta read I've been doing. A beta read that features two disabled characters as main characters. And I thought this book approached the topic well, and it inspired me to do my own video on how to approach disabled characters. And I want to approach this topic by asking 5 questions. Who, what, when, where, how. You can also ask a 6th question when it comes to this, when it comes to handling disabled characters, namely why. But really, the why is the least interesting question you can ask here, because it doesn't really branch out into telling you anything about the character or the world, on the one hand, and on the other hand, it really only has 3 possible answers. Tragic backstory, just because, or destiny. If you are going to use destiny, you have to be very careful with it, lest you become complicit in spreading some very unfortunate implications with your story. That being said, let's get to our main questions. Number 1, who? Not necessarily who the character is within the story, because a lot of what I'm about to say will be exactly the same whether or not we're talking about a main character, side character, or incidental character, but rather who this character is, who this character was at the beginning of the story or before they became disabled. How has their role within the society changed? Does the society have a certain stigma surrounding the specific disability, and whether or not that stigma also affects that character? Also, assuming there are welfare class disparities in your story, does the character have what kind of access does your character have to medical means by which they can overcome their disabilities? Medical, therapeutic, whatever. That is something to consider. Question 2, which is more interesting than that, I think, is what? What kind of disability are we talking about? What exactly does it affect? Does it affect cognition, how we think? Does it affect perception, as in what they can perceive from the world, what they can comprehend from the world? Does it affect their mobility? Does it affect their body functions? Does it affect some of the above, all of the above? You will have to be here. This is the part where you will have to do some research, not just the scientific, as in what can cause specific disabilities, but also testimonial. How that disability affects people, and what kind of means do they use to overcome the the setbacks that their disability puts in front of them. Question 3. When? When in their past did the disability occur? Does it occur within the story? Did it occur just before the story? Is it somewhere in the far-flung past? Also, how old was the character when the disability first manifested itself? How does that affect the way they've adapted, the way they cope with their disability? Have they been able to overcome it? And if not, what is keeping them from overcoming it? Answering this question will be very difficult, depending upon aspects of your world building and of the disability you want to write about. However, in general, younger people are more likely to overcome disabilities than older people. The further back in a character's history the disability first occurred or is discovered, the more likely it is to be overcome. And last but not least, overcoming a disability doesn't mean going back to normal, or rather doesn't mean going back to the old normal. It means, most of the time, it means settling into a new normal. So the next question, the 4th, is where? In what part of the setting has the disability taking place, or rather, in what part of the setting has the character been disabled. And just like I asked in just like I asked with the first question, does the society have some kind of stigma regarding disabled people, or is there some kind of is there a difference in access to medical care based upon class or upon wealth? How do they deal with that? And also, what new challenges does the environment pose to a character who just became disabled? Are there, for example, things that can trigger post-traumatic stress, or things that can provide comfort in the new world? And not in the new world, but in the existing world. Just a thing to consider. And also, and finally, question number 5: how? What precisely, or how exactly, what are the circumstances that led to the disability? Was the character born disabled, or did they become disabled? If they became disabled, by what means did that happen? Was it an accident? Was it through war or natural disaster? Was it through something else? If it was an accident, does that what is known about the perpetrator? Is the character themselves the perpetrator in some way? If it happened through war or natural disaster, are other characters you're talking about similarly afflicted in some way or another by that specific event? Does the connection to that event in any way influence the connection between the disabled characters and the other characters? Just something to consider. You don't have to answer all of these questions if you are to write a disabled character, but you should be able to. But you should keep them in mind whenever they become relevant. And again, this is not meant to be a comprehensive list. I'm pretty sure there are tons of videos that go into detail about how you can portray specific disabilities. This is just meant to point you at least somewhat in the right direction. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. If you have anything you'd like to add, the comment section is widely available. And if you want to see when my next video comes out, spoiler alert, it's going to be next week. When exactly next week? I can't really say. You'll have to subscribe to find out. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.